Okay, can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I can't thank you all for taking the night, Monday night, to spend with us. So we're going to move down to item number 7, discussion of the proposal of the Allyn water system. And Larry, thank you for forwarding that information to me. I've been doing some more research. I don't know what the other two commissioners would like to say about this, but I love their opinion.
Well, I remember at our last meeting, we were going to meet with Jeff and have a workshop. I see we have an email from our attorney, Joe Brogan, that says we do in fact have the authority to run a water district. I did see a piece in there that, concerns me as well. I think we should have a discussion and come up with a decision whether or not we want to allow the test to happen. Maybe get an opinion from the attorney. He says it's a pretty intrusive test. It shuts down our water system for 3 days. He thinks we should have a hold harmless agreement in place. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. But I would like to talk to Jeff. Jeff's been a friend of the port for many years, and I agree that we should be on good terms with him and friendly, and we should be a good neighbor. Just want to make sure we're doing the right thing.
I'd like to know what his long-term plan is. That's what concerns me the most.
Well, I echo what Scott has to say. I think we kind of need to confer with our engineer because the port could be, it's not competition. Could be not conflict of interest. Maybe that's the wrong term, but I just think as a municipality, we need to be careful what we allow. There's certain things that we can allow the public to use our system, or a private, entity to use our system for that. But, there could be ramifications down the road too. And that's kind of my concern. So I just want to make sure our engineers are on board with us too. And I do appreciate what Joe had to say as well. And again, Jeff has been part of our community for a long time and has done a lot of good for the community. So, but I also want to be careful. Don't want to make any decisions tonight. Let's put it that way.
And I think at our regular board meeting, we talked about the 1st of January, not to go much through mid-January, to get together and discuss what both of our interests were.
Mm-hmm.
We have an idea what his interests are, but I'm not sure that he knows what our interests are.
And I'm not far off, because I'd like to study it a little bit more. I've been reading quite a bit. And once you get into water rights and water systems, it gets pretty technical. So I would appreciate it that if we met with Jeff in early January, sometime in January, and just discuss it. I think that'd be a good thing to do. And I don't ever think government should be in a position of competition, but I would like to research it more. So
I agree with you on that, Ted. I don't think that we should be competing with private people on water.
That is our new goal.
Yeah. All of us did get a phone call from Brad, and he shared his concerns about it too. And I think that's important that the public knows that as well. And I hear what he says. But again, I think we need to do some of our homework if we can, Larry, to get a hold of the engineer, and let's start really asking the engineer, what are the ramifications of it? I know that he had something to say, but what is the liability of it? What's the positives of it? And if we could get that started, I think that would really help.
Okay.
Yeah, even though it's, holiday time, at least we can start the process so we can be prepared.
Okay.
If we
If
could
you
do
guys are
this,
okay with that.
yeah,
I-
absolutely. If we could do it, I'm sorry, Larry, but if we could do it before the 3-day weekend in January. I think there's a 3-day weekend in January. I'm just looking at my
There is.
calendar.
Martin Luther King Day,
Yes.
usually around the 18th. I don't know if it's
Okay.
all.
Commissioner Jackson,
Yes.
could I interrupt you for a second? I just got a call. This is Ken. I got a call from Brad Carey, and he doesn't have the correct address to log into the Zoom meeting. He's trying to log in. I told him I would let you folks know. Can you give me the correct address so that he can log in?
Yeah, let me give it to you, Ken. If you were to go to, I think the easiest way as I got in was go to zoom.com
Okay,
and then go join a meeting.
okay,
And then he needs to type in these, 10-digit numbers, 373-084-0011.
okay. Thank you very much. I'll let him know.
Okay. So our next agenda item is to go into executive session. There's some things
Hold
that,
on a second, Ted, I want to be clear on what you want me to do here. You all want me to research what our liability is, what the upside and downside of this, and what else did you want?
I think the liability, and I agree with you, the upsides and downsides, upsides or downsides of this, but also, I think when we do the testing, what impact it would have on our system, and I did read Mr. Bergen's email or message, but that's what I would be asking for, is any liability. I think it would be best if we just had a discussion to see who's doing what. And according to what I read through Mr. Bergen's letter, was that we need to make sure we need to double check our liability to what our system, if we were to shut down or hamper or interfere with people's water over a 3-day test system. I'd like to know that also.
We have a coffee stand as one of ours, and if their water goes down, it costs them $10,000 if they don't have the proper whatever, and then they lose their business for 3 days.
All right, I'll look into all of it and I will report at the January meeting.
Okay. And I think the best course of action is just to have a talk with Jeff and decide what we can do and what we can't do. So.
Well, that's why we need our engineer and our lawyer on board, so we know, be prepared. That's it.
I agree. Okay.
All right.
Did we
I
have some?
don't,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I don't see, looking right now if there's anybody else on, but we had talked about doing an executive session. And it looks like just us on. So do I have a motion to move to executive session? And then what we could do for everybody that's on there, Dedrick and Ken, is that as soon as the executive session's over with, we can move forward on the regular meeting.
We need to announce how long the executive session will be.
I'm sorry, what's that?
We need
Yeah,
to
you have to
announce how
vote.
long it will be. Like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You can always extend.
I would say no more than 15 minutes. I think after Larry responded to my comments, a lot of my concerns were alleviated, but I'd like to address a couple of things. So I think no more than 15 minutes.
What are we going into executive session for? We got to announce that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe I put it down in the letter I sent to, or the email I sent to Larry was just personnel issues.
So we can say that to receive and evaluate complaints or charges brought against a public officer or employee. However, upon the request of such officer or employee, a public hearing or a meeting open to the public shall be conducted upon such complaint or charge.
You could also do an executive session on personnel issues.
Which part of the RCW does that fall under?
Oh gosh, let me get either the Roberts rules or the RCW, but we used to do it all the time with just personnel issues to talk about them. If you want to go in executive session, we don't.
No, I mean, I just want to make sure we do it correctly. That's the only thing. I mean, I think we can do section F.
Which is, you want to read that to the public?
To receive and evaluate complaints or charges brought against a public officer or employee.
No, that wouldn't cover what I want to cover.
To evaluate the qualifications of an applicant for public employment or to review the performance of a public employee.
And that's what I'm not doing right now.
This is to review the performance of a public employee.
I see what you're saying. I just pulled it up.
I was just looking for it for you.
I mean, I think performance is pretty broad.
I believe so. And as I expressed, I don't want this to be a negative.
No, I think it's just, we're going to discuss performance.
And that was section F.
This is going to be G.
That will work.
And any action would have to be done in public.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Me too, okay?
Do I hear a motion?
I would move to close our regular meeting and move into executive session for
All those in
15.
15 minutes, no more.
You don't really have to have a motion. You can just call it because you're the chair. So let's go ahead and do it.
All right, let's go.
Everybody,
Okay, is everybody back on?
Yes.
Okay, we had the executive session and there was no action taken. So excuse me. So I'd like to move it back into regular session.
Okay. What's next on the agenda?
I am going to try to pull it up. Discussion of possible port cell phones for the commissioners.
so this was something that I brought up, and I had to give my phone up, and text messages and voicemails for businesses are a real thing. We don't like them, but I cannot stop people from leaving messages on my phone. I cannot stop people from texting me. I do not call people back on my personal device. I do not text people back on my personal device. But I don't think it's fair to, I can't block numbers. I can't block. So my only thought is that we could get each commissioner and there might be a way to do it through, because what we've done is we've given, we each have a voicemail at the port. People get our numbers. I mean, my number is not private. It's, I have a business. I have a work phone number. I have a business phone number. I have a personal phone number. It's in the phone book. You can look me up on Google, and so people call me. I have people upset about something. They call and they want to chew somebody out. And so I just think it's rather than have to jot down every voice message that I have in case somebody wants to hear the record of it, that it'd probably be easier to have a cell phone, and then we can just leave it out for anyone to have or listen to. And, it'll be expensive, and it'll be, a cost that it's kind of terrible to have to bear, but I'm just throwing it out there for discussion. I don't have a lot of messages. I don't know if you two do, but.
No, not really, no.
Yeah.
I do. I have received some messages, and I would prefer that we did have a designated line for each commissioner, whether we do the most inexpensive plan possible, and that in our policy that we agree that all commissioners' cell phones, all cell phones from the public goes to those commissioners' cell phones, not to our public phone or not to our private phone, because I still carry two phones. If I don't want to carry a commissioner's phone, I'll leave it at home, check it once a night. We could even do a policy that each commissioner will check it a couple of times a week or once a night. But I think that would be better, and that the public knows exactly which number to call. And to be honest, I have not checked my port commissioner's message system, so I'm afraid to hear that right now. So
it would send you an email.
okay, and yes, Lee, I have received emails on those.
Yeah, maybe we could just add 3 more lines and get just the bare minimum. So
I'll check into it. We've got a business plan with Verizon. So, because they're hosting the cellular for the pay machines. Oh, by the way, we paid off the one pay machine
that's awesome.
Yay, that's great.
But anyway, I'll just check and see what I can work out. And
yeah, and I mean,
while we're on
no data, no anything. I mean, no data. Just you can get me a used flip phone.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make flip phones anymore. So.
Oh, come on.
They do make them for senior citizens.
Oh,
With large buttons on them.
Yes.
I qualify.
there.
So, I have a question about that. If you guys, so you get calls at the port on your personal stuff, you just do because people Google things and they get a hold of you. So are you going to leave a message on your own phone that says, if you have port business, please call this number?
I'm not going to. What I do is I have Larry, I take the message down. I have Larry call them and say that I don't use my personal phone for port business and to call the port number. And then I'll make an appointment to go to the port to talk to somebody.
That works.
Yeah.
Well, but if that's what I do now. So
yeah,
if I have a cell phone, then I'll call them on the cell phone.
There's no way of keeping it just perfect because people. Yeah. Okay.
Unless we keep everything separated, there's no way. I mean,
Yeah, I really haven't had much. I haven't had anything. So, and especially with, the voicemail from the port, nobody's forwarded me anything. I haven't been getting anything. But I think a cell phone's a good idea.
Yeah, and we can put that on your cards too, because people do come in and they ask for your card and it's just got the port phone. And then they can ask for your personal number or whatever, or how to get a hold of you. And as far as my old training was, I haven't heard any updates in like 15 years, but it's like, that is public information, give them their number. But if I have different direction and stuff, I can do that. If I have a phone number for you guys, I can say, oh, well, this is how you get a hold of them as a port commissioner.
Yeah, my cards have the port cell phone on it.
Yeah, we'll have to get new boxes of cards, but
Well, they're
And-
cheap, $10.
Yeah.
we have to,
Expensive, but I need the direction. It's like,
we'll have to write our policy and
Yeah, and that the port cell phones are only supposed to be used for port
Right.
activity. So,
Okay, I'll research both the cost of cell phones as well as, if you want, I can try to come up with a policy and have all that ready for the January meeting.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, so under new business item, C, we're discussion of Sweetwater Park project. And I had sent some things in that regarding the Sweetwater Park project, or I sent some things that I heard about regarding the Sweetwater project. And I'm trying to go from here. Do we want to go just an update, Larry?
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of update. Scott had a question at the last meeting about the match for the grant. And I got some information from the lobbyists about it. And somehow the number is 700 and something or 400 and something. I'm not real sure how they arrived at 700. But our match is that 288. However, what we have is there's 4 different match grants in place already that covers most of it. There's a federal grant, there is a private property owner grant that somebody donated some money, I do not know who. And then there are 2 in-kind grants. So that's, where it's at. And it's not our money anyway. It's the Salmon Center is the one that's got to do the grant, not us. But the amount of grant left isn't, I think it's somewhere around $40,000. But, that's, like I said, this is their project. It's not our project.
The last meeting, I forgot to share that I listened to the, I think it was the RCO. It was a Zoom meeting and it was all day. Can't remember what day it was, but it was last month. And Mindy had shared with me that their grant application was, I think you'd shared this before, but it was number 60 in 80.
60 out of 80, yes.
Policies. And they were encouraging about that. I don't know if that helps you or not, but they did appreciate the project. I don't know if that helps you or not, but I think it's a good project. And, you had some questions about Sweetwater Park, Ted, that I've heard before, and, about some of the issues with it. But, once Salmon Center gets this grant, part of that will be the cleanup. That's what, and then the purchase also is included in that. So this project will enhance any of the issues that you have. It will fix a lot of the issues that you have. So just want to let you know. Does that help?
Yes, and one thing I'm always concerned about is just a law enforcement and firefighter piece. And I've heard Commissioner Cooper said, hey, we're good. But when you get a 5-acre piece of property, you're going to need some specialized equipment. I'd like to see us write something up just to make sure that the firefighters and officers have equipment available to get up there and deal with some things. And then I'm always concerned about putting a park next to an elementary school, because I've dealt with that. I've dealt with the issues. And there's some other issues that you've all heard me talk about, but I just want to see it in writing so that at least we have it and the Salmon Enhancement Group has it. There are people at the Sheriff's Department that want to learn a little bit more. And just to jump on an ATV to go pull somebody out or go arrest somebody, it takes a little bit of training. They have to be certified to get on that for police officers. So there's some things that we could tighten up a little bit, in my opinion.
I wasn't sure if you had a chance to look at the grant that was given to buy that property, or the school district bought that property. It was via LEA grant. And I wasn't sure if you had a chance to look through that, but actually it was designed for education and public access and dealing with the creek there. So continuation with a park there is appropriate because it was originally bought with a LEA grant. So
I'll double, I did receive the information tonight, so I'll go through it.
yeah.
And
So I think we should continue on because that's how it was originally bought in the first place.
well, I mean, the park is, I am one of 3 commissioners. The park project's going forward. I would just like to tighten it up and make sure it's as transparent as possible. Larry and I had that discussion with the emails we sent back and forth, but I just want to make sure people know. And the right people are included into this where they have a plan. I could tell you I have a plan for 8 parks in DuPont that we had to have a plan for. And this is not a county park. We're going to beg for police protection at that park. So I just like to make sure we do the best we can.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so we can move on to new business item D, discussion of use of port facilities, including the North Shore Marina. And I brought this up. I did hear complaints regarding the parties at the North Shore Marina. I was not there. I didn't see them. I just heard complaints. And I'm not sure if any other commissioner had heard that. I was concerned that some of the complaints I heard was that there was parties going on at the North Shore Marina during the COVID lockdown, and they didn't feel that it was appropriate for the Port of Allyn to facilitate those parties. I didn't know very much about it except the briefing that we got from Travis that there were some issues out there. So my concern is that I don't know. I don't know the information. So
I'd say if the neighbors are unhappy, that we not do it. That's my 2 cents. Live music, people are on edge anyways, a bunch of cars overflowing our facilities. I know that Leanne was down there. It sounded like it was a lot of fun. I live 1.5 miles from there. I didn't hear a single thing about it except the briefings with Larry and Leanne at our meetings, but I don't know if it's worth the few bucks we made on renting the facility with the, we gotta live with those neighbors forever. I mean,
I know that Larry had set up information about, set up a contract with them having to follow state requirements for COVID. And I guess it's sort of like everybody else, even though the state has demanded that we have compliance to these things, there's still people who aren't going to comply. It probably won't even need to happen again. It may not. And it will be a very different year, I hope, next year. I know we won't have to worry about it for the winter. So
I would say even if we are out of the lockdown and somebody wants to bring their big boat with live music down there, that we should discuss it as a board before we go forward. I would say that would be the direction to Larry, that before we have a big party on the dock, that I don't think the North Shore is the appropriate spot for that. I think the Allyn dock with the park is probably a better spot for that than the North Shore dock, because it's a residential neighborhood, and I could see why they were upset.
yeah, I don't know if the other commissioners heard it. I heard it after our last meeting, and they said, "Why aren't you addressing this?" And I'm going, okay. There used to be a musical festival out near Home Island in Puget Sound where they used to bring out all the law enforcement from Pierce County, Tacoma, Fish and Wildlife, because it was just a big music festival. And I know there was permits and all that stuff was required. And then it got to be such a, I'm not going to say mess, but it got to be such a nuisance to the people that lived on the shore. We had TPD fireboats, and it just became a stop. So like I said, I don't know if any of you heard about it. I just wanted to bring it up because I felt these people that were calling in had some concerns. So I just want to address it. Then any other discussion on item D?
I mean, Leanne there, maybe Leanne could kind of tell us her take on it.
I fielded a couple of calls. I know that the people having the parties had all of their bases covered. They got permits for this. So I don't know, you know, if you deny people something when they bought the permits and everything else and have it covered legally, there might be that side of it. And we made thousands of dollars, we made thousands of dollars off of that. So.
Yeah, at a time we really needed it too.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
You know, I do have to say that there are a few ports around that have actually bought barges, party barges.
Yeah.
Because there are more need, you know, for those kind of things. And that's how they make their money.
I believe the Port of Bremerton
More
owns the one they
positive.
shoot the fireworks from in Port Orchard.
There was
So
a
anyway,
lot of people involved in enjoying it, that were paying to go to it. Then there were complaints, period. I mean, there was very few complaints as to how many people were involved.
So anyway, I think we can't just shut the door. That's all.
Okay, and I'd like to say in our contract with the people that rented it, we made sure that they were responsible for all of the COVID restrictions, for, you know, masking and social distancing and everything. They were to police that, not us. They were to hold us harmless if there were any claims for anything. We had them add us onto their insurance as an additional insured for $1 million. And they had to defend us in court if there was any kind of legal claim that arose against us because of it. You know, all that was written into the contract.
Okay.
You know, I felt like I covered our behinds pretty well.
All righty, we'll move on to discussion item E, which I think was pretty much addressed, is that I would like to see the Port of Allyn enter into a hydraulic permit application for a maintenance HPA with Fish and Wildlife. And we're going to be doing some other HPA permitting with Fish and Wildlife. It may seem like a minute permit, but it's a free permit. It'll last us 6 years to do any maintenance on our facilities. And I have spoken to the area habitat biologist. She's more than welcome to walk our property and tell us which we can do. But it's just something that's going to make sure that if we have somebody out there working on our piers or docks for maintenance issues, that you're not going to have a Fish and Wildlife officer come by and ask for your hydraulic permit. And we have it listed. We have it in the office. And like I said, it's free. It'll last us 6 years. It'll cover it'll cover our marina, our piers, our docks, and anything else. So that's something that I'll work with Larry.
Does it cover like our Hood Canal facilities and the kayak park, or is it just, you know?
We could cover it all. You know, even it gets down to where we just need to remove a little bit of gravel from our boat launch, just to make sure people can just launch their boat without getting stuck in gravel. It'll cover all that. And we're just covered for 6 years. We're going to be doing some projects. And like I said, I looked at the Port of Allyn Pier the last couple of meetings, and we're going to need to replace some slats. Anytime we do stuff over water, I just want to make sure we have that permit.
Great.
And it's simple to do, so we'll get it done.
I'm
Thanks.
on it.
Thanks for leading us through that.
Yeah, great. Thank you,
And
Ted.
a lot of people don't know that. Even if you put a float, even if you put a tie up in the Hood Canal or Puget Sound, you need to have a permit. Anytime you put even a swim float, you need to have a permit.
Okay.
It's not that the courts aren't going to be busy enough for the next 2 years with all this backlog through COVID, but I just want to make sure we're squared away. So,
Okay.
all right. That leads us, unless there's any more comment on that.
No, thank you. Thanks for doing that, or, bringing it to our attention. That's great.
And that leads us to item 9, public comment. Is there any
Oh,
public
wait a
comment?
second.
Oops.
We have to approve 2 vouchers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did review the vouchers. Just want to let you know. So if you guys haven't, go ahead and look at them, and then I would move that we approve them.
I've looked at them as well. I would second that motion.
Okay.
I'm just going through them right now.
Yeah, the thing with Island Johnny's, I called them today and told them I have not received an invoice from them since October. I was kind of wondering if they were getting reimbursed because it was COVID stuff, and we had a discussion before I stopped getting invoices. And she said, no, they had an email thing that happened. We weren't the only ones that didn't get emails. So there's no extra charges or anything, but it hasn't been paid since October. I told her I could probably get it approved tonight. So,
Great.
yeah.
Yes, and I just reviewed the vouchers. Do I have a motion to approve voucher number 1, 2012-04-001, Island Johnny's for $373.00.
So moved.
Second.
And I'm sorry, I should have combined them all, but all right, one more. Second voucher is 2012-04-002 Pacific Coast Congress of Harvest Masters, $265 for 2021 annual dues.
So moved.
Second.
All approved?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, vouchers are approved. All right, do we have any public comment?
This is Ken. Yeah, I'd like to comment.
Yes,
Commissioners, I was sent the agenda about 20 minutes before the meeting. And some of the things that you've been talking about weren't listed on this agenda. It was a special meeting, right? And I had some issues with getting into the meeting. I know Mr. Carey got frustrated, so he didn't even sign in. Yeah, there's some issues with what happened this evening. The business that you discussed about cell phones, it was on the agenda, but I just wanted to remind you that the port spent a lot of money back in 2017 around the policy that was developed for the personal use of cell phones, conducting personal cell phones, conducting port business. It was part of that public records request. That was 2017. You're going to have to redo that whole policy, it sounds like. Sweetwater Park, I didn't see it anywhere on the agenda, but I'd just like to remind you, yes, it was obtained by the school for an ALEA grant over 20 years ago. things have changed. The Salmon Center was going to be sited right across the street from Sweetwater Park, but they moved to a different location. So I really urge caution going any further with that Sweetwater Park. I believe there's still contaminated soil there, and I sure don't want the port spending money to clean up somebody else's property. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. I'm going back to the agenda. Was there any comments or?
None for me, just Merry Christmas. Hey, did you guys get your candy?
Yes, thank you.
I still have Ted's in the office.
I'll be
Okay.
down there. I'll grab it. So good of the order. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas from my behalf. It's been an interesting year. I appreciate everybody's hard work. So,
You gonna stick with interesting?
what's that?
You gonna stick with interesting?
I think that's what my family would like to hear. So,
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Ted.
all
Thank you
right.
very much.
Thank you all very much. Have a great night.
Merry Christmas.
See
Merry
you next
Christmas.
year.
Happy New Year.
Uh-huh.